So, wow, we already have 12 viewers. Hi guys, welcome to our 28 meetup. For I think we already done it for a few years now. So this is I think the third meetup of the year, still on doing online due to the COVID situation and everything, right? Um, so okay, let me just play around with it. Okay, so basically, for tonight we have actually with NGINX. So we have later on we have speaker from NGINX, Michael Cheo. He's actually Malaysian as well, but now he's based in Singapore. So he will talking about and doing a demo on deployment with NGINX Kubernetes Ingress Controller. So people who love Kubernetes and like you guys play around, right? It's been a while since we heard about Kubernetes and stuff. So let's see how is it with NGINX as well, right? So that should be an exciting one to look out. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to actually drop in the comments, and then we'll just bring up the question towards the end when we have the Q&A. So just if you're on YouTube, comment there, we'll bring it in. If you're on Facebook, I think you need to, we won't see who's giving a question, but you can comment, we can see the comments. So that should be fine. And other than that, so and we also still if you guys we are still looking for speakers, and if any you guys looking out we're interested to give a talk or what, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me like everywhere, right? So I should be fine. We can message my meetup message as well. And if you haven't joined the meetup DevOps Malaysia, please do so, join, so they can watch out for in future events. And sometimes we have freebies like company sponsor stuff, we just share in the messages as well, so you can take the advantage of that as well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go start straight away. Since we already have 15 people, so I think slowly we grow up lah. I think this is gonna be probably the highest online meetup, I guess. So, yep, let's straight away go to the slides. And now 21. As usual, committee volunteers, everyone you can find in on Engineers MY. There's like groups there, people just like bashing or just like you any support, your channel is there, you need any support, need to talk to talk or ask anything, just feel free to drop in a message there. I think everyone's there friendly lah. Just sometimes they might look like a bit evil or like bullying you or something, but no bullying, don't worry. If they bully you, we just kick them out anyway. So and then also I think they already created a Discord channel. I don't know why, but the trend now is moving towards a Discord. So so every channel, I think even Linux Academy also moving to the Discord. So probably that's something you want to check it out as well, like see what you want to join or not. And if you want to volunteer, feel free. If you want to sponsor, feel free to approach us. If you want to give a talk, we are much happier to welcome you. So just approach and feel free to suggest anything. So if any feedback as well, we welcome feedback as much as we want. So just give us feedback. That's how we can improve and provide more quality stuff for you guys. So other than that, we also have other meetups which are going on now. Clubhouse is still, I think it's dying off already, but it's still there. If you want to check it out, feel free to check it out. I don't think we're doing much now. I think not many people are spending time there now, to be honest. So, and the KLJS Junior Dev still going on strong. For Junior Dev, I think next week we have one meetup, which is an interesting workshop as well for with one API. So you want to check that as well. If you're looking for other meetups that we created, just go to devkami.com/meetups. So that's where we share all the tech events happening in Malaysia, created manually by people. So the quality is there. So yeah, go check it out as well. And also, yeah, I think this one we used to do it during the live, which is the live event, right? Everyone with the live event, right? But we still maintain this. So the comments there, please respect, don't agree to disagree, be participative, be comment, engaging, everything. Don't bite shade. Like if possible, keep it very minimal, like. And so as usual for online edition, what changed is nothing changed. Just that you can't voice out, or we can't see your face. That's about it. So I think you guys don't miss our face. I think you guys already probably tired of seeing our face already lah. So you want to see your face. Hopefully that can happen soon. Things improve. So and then we again give feedback as we learn from your feedback, especially online. It's quite hard to get to gauge what's going on other side, what you guys feel, what you guys want, and stuff like that. So feel free to give feedback. We actually want more feedback. Any questions? Probably no. If yes, please drop in the comment, and then we're happy to answer it for you guys. Yeah. And I think one guy says that I miss physical meetups. Yes, we also miss physical meetups, but safety comes first. So I don't think at least until August we're gonna go to physical meetup. Although it's allowed, we can do all, but we probably won't, just for the safety of everyone. And then, so moving on, right? What gonna next one is the Buzzcorner. So I'm gonna welcome Sam. So Sam, Sam is the organizer for the DevOps Malaysia as well. So feel free to reach out to him if you have any questions. So he's gonna do the Buzzcorner. So yeah, Sam, all yours. Go ahead. I will remove myself.
Okay, hi everyone. Sam. I work at a local telco doing cloud security, and I'm covering Buzzcorner. So for those who are new, Buzzcorner is a series of collection of news buzz that we collect from our channel on the engineers.my Slack. So for people who are like busy at work, sometimes you don't have time to catch up with some of the cloud or DevOps news, so we will just present some of them here. Okay, without further ado, let's go straight into it. So the first one is Docker Desktop's release for Mac. So this was for the M1 MacBook, Mac Minis and all that. So for we look at the community. I think for some people in the community, this is once you have this, then some people are some developers are waiting for this as they go ahead to buy this as a dev machine. So yes, so this is a Docker Desktop for Mac. It's out. Okay, next news. We have so next we have new GitHub themes for VS Code. So that's a Visual Studio Code for those who are not familiar. What's VS Code? And so the four new themes that you're getting are the GitHub Lite default, GitHub Dark default, GitHub Dark themes, and you can see so that's for those who are using VS Code in GitHub. Let's go next. Okay. Then this is the next item on the Buzzcorner. So this is a HashiCorp Vault. So what's out now is the HashiCorp Vault, which is the fully managed cluster service that's available on AWS. And for this, you no longer have to like roll out your own AWS cloud. You can deploy a cloud, what they call a fully managed service, and then you pair it with your existing AWS network. So that's the news that came out, I think, early this month. And if you're interested, you can scan the QR code on the right. So just give you a few seconds before the next slide. And next we have the news that the Malaysian Internet Exchange urging the Malaysian government to review the cabotage policy after the news that Facebook cables are skipping Malaysia. So of course they're routing themselves because of the cabotage policy, which is related to the ships for Facebook. So there's some news and maybe some discussion and probably some controversy related to that. So if you're interested, you can scan the news or on the site. Next, so this news is OpenSearch. So what's OpenSearch? OpenSearch is what's that? This elastic cache, is it? NGINX had forked, what's that? NGINX decided to fork, I think ELK, and they are calling it OpenSearch. So there's some news in the second link. They also there's a bit more information into the licensing aspects of what some of that means and which version and how is it affected and all. So that's what they're calling it. Superbase. So storage available now in Superbase. Evan, Raj, you have anything to add?
So basically, this is basically to jump in, right? Superbase is just another service which is opposite of competitor for Firebase. That's how they're putting themselves out. So what the storage that we have at Firebase, right? That's how the Superbase also like wanna provide is available. Basically, the feature is now available, which is similar like a Firebase storage. And then regarding the previous slide as well, right? Just to add on, right? Basically, this is a competitor from basically Elastic. Okay, sorry, I think we lost for a few seconds there. Sorry about that. I think basically what it is this Elastic have removed the license, and then so AWS can't use their Elastic on their services. So they decided to partner with OpenSearch and now introducing Amazon OpenSearch. So that's what it is now. So basically it's the same thing like in Elastic, but since Elastic changed the license, they can't use it, so they came up with this thing OpenSearch. Yep. Sam, you want to continue? Let me the slide right. So
Yeah, sure. So next, this is news where the official PHP Git server was targeted. So I think the screenshot you can see, we can't really see it very well, but so someone committed some changes to the code under the commit name of Rasmus Lerdorf, which is the guy who maintains the PHP code, but actually it's not him. So they added this PHP remote execution code at line, I think 370, if I remember correctly. But he discovered it. Of course, it's hidden. It was masquerading as a typo, but they discovered it and they removed it. So this is one of those news. Next, local company Faith gets acquired by Unicorn Pinemax. I think this was actually in the news for a while, but I think it just became official this month. Yeah. Next, there's live book. Okay, very much. If you know what to. You know more about live book. You're mute.
So sorry, I was on mute. Okay, basically, Livebook is, if you know Jupyter and something like, it's a similar kind of like a collaborative notebook, but it's now the LSL and implemented with the Phoenix Live View. So basically, just more towards LSL along if you're into that area language. So this for you. And if you're going to go with numerical or scientific computing, it's probably a quite useful thing. So you want interested, you can go check it out, and probably you want to probably want to use it as well. So just feel free to check it out. So I think Sam, you want to go for the next one, Cloudflare? Or
Yeah. So next, Cloudflare pages. Cloudflare has announced the GA for Cloudflare pages. So basically, for those who have not heard what is Cloudflare pages, it's a Jamstack platform. I think there's JavaScript API. What's M again? Basic. Huh?
Yeah, basically it's like a S3. If you as a S3 bucket everything, right? So it's a static website. You want to do API, but what I'm interested here is actually curious is a Jamstack site. So you want to probably check with what Jamstack site have and how you can integrate with Cloudflare pages. And the best thing is they're actually providing this for free. So if you're just trying out couple of things, open source thing, and then Jamstack is like you just want to do a CMS with the API or JSON, right? You probably want to check it out as well. Like it's a static basically without any backend. So and then I think we came to the last slide for the Buzzcorner. So I leave all to Sam. Go ahead.
Okay, next we have the Microsoft outage. I think early this month there was an outage, so it affected a lot of services. I think Exchange and even the Microsoft status, Azure status page. And so the root cause of this was software deployment related to Azure DNS. It went wrong. So there's so this link and article gives you a bit more information of what and describes a bit more details what happened during this outage. Next is this render versus Heroku is a comparison of two PaaS service for you to deploy your websites or API services. So that's just a bit of a comparison site. Not sure how many people use it. Yeah. Then next we have this diataxis framework shared by Tristan. And so basically it's a systematic framework. I think it's used by Cloudflare, if I remember, based on the website. So Cloudflare is one of the users that's using this in a very systematic and structural way for their technical documentation. So those who are interested can check it out. Then the other last two news, one is the very big news I think was announced this week, I think yesterday or the day before, where Microsoft is just signed a $1 billion deal for data center region services. So that's very big news. They make this announcement part of the Malaysian government announcement. Okay, then next, so I think last month there was the news about ConsoleMe, which is a Netflix. They use this system internally, and so that's their central control plane for better managing AWS permissions and access. For those of you who have touched AWS permissions, the IAM users and permissions know it's a very big beast to look at all the policies and all that. So this is Netflix's one of their systems, and early this month they've announced that they are open sourcing, so everyone can actually make use of their ConsoleMe system to better manage. So I think there's some. I read something about it. I think probably now is one of the features missing. Probably is at the AWS organizations level. So those who are working enterprises, I think that type of feature is not there yet. And okay, I think that's the end of Buzzcorner. Thanks for your time. And then I think back to you, Tabernash.
All right, thank you so much, Sam, for the Buzzcorner. Right. So for next, actually, we are going to bring the speaker in and then introduce him to you guys. Before that, just want to add up the 1 billion Microsoft new data center. I think it's available. You can check it out on their website. It's actually put there coming soon. So not like last time. It's like since 2018, still 40% done. That news, I think now they're putting there, probably going to happen most likely. So let's hope for the best. And yep, so I'm going to bring Michael in, and I'm going to do a quick intro for his side. So wait, going to stuck a bit. Okay, so we're going to start. And just before you come in, he's actually a solution engineer with the NGINX, which is now under F5. So you want to probably have any questions with F5 or any NGINX, you can check it out. Also, we actually shared his LinkedIn as well. You can reach out to him on his LinkedIn and feel free. Anything NGINX or F5 stuff, we're happy to help you out. And he was talking about advanced deployment with NGINX Kubernetes Ingress Controller. So welcome, Michael. How are you, Michael?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yep. And then so I just you want to probably introduce yourself, and then I'm going to bring your slide as well. So your slide is ready. So and then
sure.
the floor is all yours. So guys, there you have it. Michael, all yours now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Michael. Like what Tabernash was introduced. So just a bit of background on myself. Actually, I'm a Malaysian. Previously I joined. In the past, I worked in Maxis, one of telco in Malaysia. Then after that, subsequently, I become a pre-sales or sales consultant, technical sales for F5 based in Malaysia. And about 4.5 years ago, I have an internal transfer to Singapore, and still kind of doing F5 products for the past few years. And just recently, when F5 acquired NGINX, and I saw the opportunity, and I raised my hand and trying to do an internal transfer to become an NGINX specialist, right? So today I will be coming to you as an NGINX specialist kind of role and to talk to you. But feel free to connect to me whether you have F5 questions or NGINX questions. If I can't help you, I definitely will link you up with people who have better knowledge than me, all right? Okay, just before I start my main topic today, I was tasked by our beloved marketing lady, Sharon, to run these things, right? In a short while, in the next slide, I'm going to flash out a short link, the Bitly links as well, or QR code. Now, the first 5 users, the fastest to answer the questions and with the correct answer, right? You get a chance to win this swag, right? This gift. At the end of the presentations, I will announce the winner, and Cheryl will get in touch with you and send you the things. Now, please get ready your phone if you have, because you need to answer very fast, because the quiz is very straightforward. So probably about 3 to 4 questions, and it's quite straightforward. So you want to act very fast, right? Let me count 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I will give you 1 minute for you to answer it. Okay, likelihood you just take 10 seconds to do that, and then another 5 seconds just to scan the code. All right, let me just do the counting. Yeah, I believe the question is quite straightforward, nothing technical, nothing, yeah. I guess if one of the history question, if you don't know, just buta 10 bucks aja. Right, 30 seconds has passed, you have another 30 seconds to go. Okay, 20 more seconds. Yeah, hopefully one day I will be able to physically meet up with you in your physical meetup, right? It will be more fun than just me talking to the screen, and hopefully that you listen to my talk. Yep. All right, time's up. Okay, I believe the quiz was quite straightforward. Now, as I promised, the winner will be announced at the end of the demo presentations, right? Now let's get started. Now today, my topic is about how to use NGINX as a ingress controller in Kubernetes or OpenShift or Rancher and etc. Right? Just before I start my topic, I just thought for the benefit of everybody in the crowd, we just want to give one slide about Kubernetes intro so that all of us are on the same page. So later on, when I mention certain terminology, so you'll be able to follow along. Now, assuming in a microservices cluster or Kubernetes, OpenShift, whatsoever, you have a master node and then you have a bunch of worker nodes as well. So all of them build up as a cluster, right? Now, so as a DevOps developer, in the context of deploying applications to launch applications, right? So first of all, what we tend to do is they create a namespace. A namespace basically is just a grouping of resources, right? So you can think of it like a labeling or tagging, but basically it's just grouping for some of the resources. Now, once you have a namespace, then the next thing is you want to create a deployment. The deployment is basically to tell the Kube API or the Kubernetes how to deploy your pods, the container or the pods, right? The smallest component in the microservices, right? Now, so whether you want to, what image you want to use, how many replicas, how many copies, and etc. So it is basically you can define in the deployment manifest. Now, so for example, right now I want to deploy a brew deployment. So I tell the deployment I have a full 4 copies, 4 replicas. Right? So, okay, all of these pods, they have their own individual IP address, but it's very hard for you to remember individual IP address to access of them, right? So the next thing that people will tend to do is they define a service. So service is basically it's just an FQDN or DNS for you to access all this deployment, right? So you have the brew deployment, brew services. Then the next thing is you want to deploy a RAID deployment, and then you want to have defined 2 replicas. There is the RAID service. As well, like yellow deployment, yellow service, and purple deployment. But for this, just basically it could be a utility. You do not need a service, so hence you don't define the service. So basically, you have a namespace, your deployments, and then your service. Come build up your deployments in the Kubernetes. Right? So this one slide easy for you to pass your CKAD, right? Now, so right now, just as I mentioned, when you have deployed the deployments, you have a bunch of pods, right? Then you have the service for you to access the pods. Now, by default, within the Kubernetes, you are able to access the services across a namespace. And by default, within the cluster, you're able to access the services. Now, however, from the traffic from outside, the end user, from a mobile phone or from the browser, they are not able to access the service within the cluster, right? So it's this kind of by default, right? So there are multiple ways for you to expose this service for external requests to coming in, right? Now, most common ways is to through an ingress resource. So what's ingress resource? So ingress resource is basically a Kubernetes resource definitions to allow people to define what services on how to expose out to the external user for them to access. Now, Kubernetes is a vendor agnostic platform. They want to keep it that way. So they want to make sure that it's very integratable with different vendor solutions. So hence, in this ingress resource, they keep it to very basic. The minimum thing that is required for you to expose a service to the external user. For example, let's say the host name. Okay, so again, right, so this is the name of the resource, and then the host name, and then the host name, the path, and then the backend services, right? So this is very basic. Now, so actually, this is just the ingress resource, but it still doesn't really make the service come into your cluster. So the next thing that people do is something called the ingress controller. Now, assuming you deploy NGINX Ingress Controller. So what happened is, this is the NGINX process. There's an agent, right? So it's called NGINX Ingress Controller, the agent. So this agent basically is just continuously to monitor the Kube API for this resource, right? So whenever there's a new resource being defined, so NGINX Ingress Controller will interpret this resource and translate this manifest into its own configurations, right? So if you're familiar with NGINX the pool member is called upstream server. From here, you see it's called service name, right? So we need to translate whatever being defined in the ingress resource into NGINX own interpretations of configuration file. So if let's say you're using different ingress controller, they will have different way. So as I say, Kubernetes is a vendor agnostic source platform. They need to maintain this ingress resource, so it's called compatibility with different type of ingress provider, right? Now, in the market, they have a bunch of it. If you go to Kubernetes website or GitHub, you can see the list continue to grow, right? So there's a lot of solutions. Now, different vendor introduce different capability, advanced capability. But however, just as I mentioned, the ingress resource is supposed to be vendor agnostic, supposed to be very neutral, right? So how does vendor take advantage of all these features, right? So it is through the annotations or config map, right? So, but the most commonly used called annotations. Now, if you're used before, right? Okay, so annotation is basically, it's just a key value pair, a bunch of text for you to define. Now, Kubernetes itself, it will ignore the information within this annotation. So it doesn't do any error checking. So we just pass on to let the ingress controller to interpret it, right? Now, what happened to these annotations? It's very messy and error prone. Like when the project getting complex, you keep on adding more and more annotation into it, but it doesn't do any spell checking, so it kind of error prone as well. Now, I intentionally plant a Easter egg in this text, right? Whether can you spot the error in here? I give you 5 seconds. Right. Now, if you're very sharp, you probably notice, hey, lb dash method, there's missing a O here. Now, Kubernetes will not notice this error, and hence it will just ignore it. And then, but at the end, the ingress controller will not able to interpret this one, and it doesn't really carry out with the necessary instructions. So it's very messy. Now, in the modern days, most of the vendor ingress controller vendor, they want to stay away from these annotations. They introduce something called custom resource definition, or CRD. Now, in NGINX, we have something called virtual server route, and policy as well. And contour, they have a HTTP proxy, traffic, they have an ingress route, etc. Now, different vendors trying their creativity, trying to solve these challenges through annotations. Now, I want to show you, since I'm from NGINX, so I would definitely want to show you how exciting the virtual server and virtual server route able to help you to bring out very advanced use cases as well. Hence, this is the topic for today, right? Now, let's imagine, right? Let's say I got one project called Cafe project. In this Cafe project, got coffee component and tea component, right? So coffee team developer and tea developer, they build their own respective applications. Now, when I want to launch this application in a Kubernetes world, so what do I do? First of all, as I mentioned, we build a namespace, right? We create a namespace, and then the coffee team will do the tea deployment, and tea team will team T will do the tea deployment, right? Now, which is fine. Now, however, what if the coffee team say, hey, I want to do blue-green testing, and then the tea team say, I want to do rate limiting to my component. Now, so what do? If let's say in the traditional way, they will modify on the ingress resource and through annotations. Now, what if the coffee team adds certain annotation and conflicting the tea team? And what if the tea, what introduce and override what coffee team has changed? Hence, there's a kind of there's no single source of truth, or there's no very lack of prone for overwriting each other. Now, what does most of the organization do? They say, okay, since there's a chance of conflicting each other, why not I be the only one gatekeeper to do the who have the authority to create the ingress resource. Now, this works well because I have a single control, right? But again, it kind of define the kind of go against the ideology of going scale out, therefore empowering people to do what they need to do, right? So here they kind of mention to you the challenges of annotations when it comes to the ingress resource. Now, how does NGINX solve this problem? So as I mentioned just now, we're using custom resource definitions, right? Virtual server. Now, assuming, again, it's a namespace, cafe namespace. Now, I have a coffee deployment, I have a tea deployment already, right? Now, what I need to do is I just create a new custom resource definitions called virtual server. Now, I will do a route to a service coffee and service tea. Now, by the look of it, right, it doesn't really much different from the ingress resource. But hold on first, right? Now, if I do create a custom resource called virtual server, route it to coffee or tea. Now, the next thing what I can do is, hey, you know what? NGINX have a custom CRDs. They have a lot of policy, right? ACL, what IP address, source IP address can come in, which IP address you can go to. I can have a rate limiting, MTLS, mutual TLS, or two-way SSL, job token authentications, advanced routing, persistency, traffic splitting, web application firewall for security as well. I can mix and match a bunch of all this policy, and I say, okay, you know what? I have a mix and match. I assign it to coffee. Now, again, when T team want to do their own respective policy, I can define a different set of policy, mix and match of any of this possibility, and then assign to T, right? So again, so right now you have a clear cut, right? Whatever coffee changes, it doesn't affect what T deployment, right? So this is very good now. So but people say, hey, no, it sounds good, but there are still error prone that people might override each other because everybody still change on the same single manifest, which is a virtual server custom resource, right? Okay, that's fine. How about we take one step further? That's where we have something called virtual server route. Now, first of all, virtual server, in the earlier example, route to the service. But right now, what I do is route to another route. In this case, it's called virtual server route. And then now, so coffee, instead of routing to the service, I route it to virtual server route or coffee, and then virtual server route coffee, route it to the service, right? And then, okay, for tea is the same thing as well. Now, what happened is, right now, again, you can have a mix and match of different policy assigned to this virtual server route, right? Another set of a policy you assign to this virtual server route. Now, so what happened if you could have one DevOps administrator who have authority to like a right to create this virtual server custom resource, and then respective team, they create their own virtual server route, right? So again, then you have empowering them to go faster, to do whatever they want, right? Now, here it sounds good, right? So right now we have a segregation of role, but there is still introduced one problem, because all of them still accessing the same namespace cafe. Now, when you're accessing a namespace, same namespace, you might have the right to override someone else's resources as well, right? So hence, again, we take a step further again. We break it up into different namespaces, right? So right now, probably we can create a namespace called cafe just to host this virtual server resource. Then we create another namespace called coffee namespace to have coffee deployment and coffee virtual server route, and tea deployment in a tea namespace in tea virtual server route. Now, with this arrangement, right now you have a very clear cut of role segregations, right? So whatever coffee deployment they can do within here, they are not able to override or access the resources in the T namespace. As well, the T deployment will not be able to access the coffee namespace or as well as the master cafe namespace. But with this arrangement, all of them still able to benefit or take advantage of what NGINX has to offer as an ingress controller. Now this is very powerful, right? So right now we kind of giving them the power to mix and match different policy for them to deploy. Yeah. So with these explanations, so what can we take away? First of all, it's very easy to configure, right? It's very clear cut. And then because we stay away from annotations, we're using custom resource definitions. If let's say you have a typo error, when you do the deployment, Kubernetes will straight block it and not allow you to deploy. So hence, it's very less error prone as well. Then the third thing is because very granular control, as I mentioned to you, right? We can create into different namespace to let different team take control of what they want to do, right? So yeah, so this is a key takeaway. Now, so enough of talking. Let's jump right into the demo, right? Now, so today I have prepared 3 demos. I mean, actually I have a lot of demos, so I handpicked these 3 demos. So I thought it'd be probably more relevant, right? First demo is all targeted blue-green deployment, and second thing talk about advanced rate limiting, right? When I mention blue-green, a lot of people say, blue-green is a 80-20, 50-50. Yeah, probably I want to give you a different perspective as well. And rate limiting, yeah, 5 requests per second, 10 requests per second. How interesting can it be? Probably I want to show you something. The last one is called API security protections. Now, most of the application running in the microservices are API driven as well, right? So a lot of company adopt API first strategy. So when you have API basically is just is running over HTTP, right? Now, unless you're using gRPC, but a lot of them running over HTTP REST API, they are subject to a layer 7 application attack as well. So hence you need to have API security, right? Now, so let's come to the first use case, blue-green deployment, A/B testing, and canary release, right? Now, so I always ask myself, how do I explain a very complex terminology to a non-IT person? Now, blue-green deployment, you know, you have a blue deployment, now you have introduce a green deployment, you want to send portions of traffic to the green to test it out, see whether it's running or not. Now, you have A/B testing, again, you have most of the people go to the A versions, and then right now you send a portion of the traffic to the B versions to see whether the response is good or not, right? Like canary deployment is basically everyone is running on version 1, and then you send out one canary instance to see whether I send a portion of traffic to the canary to see whether it's running properly. If yes, then you kind of roll out the upgrade. Now, again, all of these sound the same but different, right? It's just about, I mean, to me, I think it's just more like the intentions of why you do this, right? So are you testing the different versions? Are you testing the customer response, or are you factoring the code, etc., right? Now, whether blue-green, A/B testing, or canary release, right? If I can sum it up, right, actually to me, all of these are intelligent traffic steering, right? So F5 and NGINX, we have been talking about this one many years ago, way before microservices. We call it intelligent traffic steering. What it means, right? Basically, I have a context aware. I want to know what traffic is this. It's true either based on IP address, HTTP header, request URI, request method, HB data, cookie value, whatsoever authentication, user ID, etc. So I know what traffic it is, right? After that, I can do random, right? Or the worst case bottom line is random. Now, after I know the context, I apply certain policy, right? Very targeted or general, random, or through ACL, through rate limiting, through a bunch of policies which I just not earlier on kind of mentions, right? A policy conditions, and then I apply to the policy. So context aware, and what's the policy, and then I carry out the policy. So literally is what we call is intelligent traffic steering. Now, hence, let me just show you. Put all of what we have learned so far into this actual demo. Now, I already do a deployment earlier, right? So in my deployment, I have a green bullet and blue bullet. Right? The green bullet is basically a deployment with a lot of green objects, right? And blue bullet is a website with a lot of blue bullet as well, right? So it's kind of blue and green, right? So right now, okay, how do I do using my custom resource. So literally after I do the deployment, first of all, I create a custom resource definition virtual server resource, which I can't mention to you, right? Now I have the host called bluegreen.helloclouds.net, right? And after that, I define a target conditions, right? So what's my targeted conditions? You say I want to inspect a header called user, and then the value must match to test group. Now, if let's say you send a header, it's called with the header key is user and value is test group, I will perform the policy. Now, what is my traffic split policy is, first of all, 99% go to the blue bullet and 1% go to the green bullet. Now, if your traffic doesn't match these conditions, you have a fallback plan, which is called the blue bullet. So always go to blue bullet unless you are test group user, then you come into here now. So this idea really is come out after my discussion with one of the international bank in Singapore, right? So a lot of customer talking about blue green is more 80-20, but to this customer, he said, no, we do not want to do random blue green deployment because it's very dangerous. There's no control. Now imagine, right? What if, right, you have green versions, it's a kind of untested, you kind of go live, right, beta versions. Now if let's say accidentally you send a portion of VIP user to these test versions, and what happens if let's say something goes wrong and the VIP have a very bad experience, and then VIP escalate up to top management, and top management will come after you as a DevOps user. That's it, right? Now, so that's why nobody really, in practical world, not many people like random type of result. They want to be more targeted, right? Now here is, I say, we can use header, user, test group, but actually you can do a lot more things as well. You can use header, cookie, argument, or variable. If you have played with NGINX before, there's a lot of variable that you can mix and match to form this one as well, right? Now, so enough talking, let me just show you, right? So this is my website, blue green deployment, right? So as I say, versions 1 is all blue bullet, right? Now I will activate my developer tools. The reason is because I want to disable the cache for it to refresh, right? Now, so I tick this button called auto refresh. So every second you just keep on refreshing. Now right now there's nothing happened because I never sent the header. Now still remember earlier on my condition is user must match with test group, right? So right now if I use a modified header, user, test group, right? So if I do that, you can see, hey, 1% of the traffic is go to the green, right? Yeah, because about 300 objects, so they're random. I mean about 3%, right? Now if I remove this header, right, it's everything will back to blue game, right? So it's quite straightforward, right? Okay, now, okay. Just let me see some green. Okay, so you're 3% green now. So right now, this is my blue-green deployment. Okay, now hopefully you can see my screen. Now, so this is my YAML file. Right now it's 1% and 99%, right? 1 to 90 ratio. Right now, just make something drastic, right? I put 50 and I put here 50, right? So 50% go to the blue bullet and 50 go to the green bullet. Okay, now so. Okay, what I do is I do a quick CTL apply and target here. Okay, this is my namespace, use case stream. Yep. So I do that. Okay, in a very short while you'll see you will switch to 50-50. Now you can see 50% go to the green, 50% go to the blue. Now, so if I'm happy with the performance, happy with the result, right now, if I want to do that, if I can, I'm very happy with that. Okay, let's say for example I change to 99 green and 1% blue, right? Yeah, I do that. Yeah, you see. Just give a scan. Yeah, see, everything go to the green and probably 1% go to the blue, right? So this is very straightforward demonstrations. Okay, let me continue now. Now, what I show you is very straightforward, just basically user based on header. Again, as I say, there's a lot more condition that you can mix and match, right? Now, so right now, let me proceed to the second demo. Second demo is called rate limiting. Right? Just before I go to the rate limiting, I want to highlight something. It's called NGINX by default is using something called a leaky bucket algorithm. First in, first out, but then there's a bucket, right? Now, so just think think in this way, right? Now, so the bucket, if let's say first 5 requests per second means 5 requests per second. But if I define a bucket, let's say the bucket of 10 requests, right? So what happens is, even though it's 5 requests per second, but I allowed to store up to a buffer of 10 before the bucket overflow and then reject the subsequent one. Now, why this is very important? Just think in this way, right? In a normal API world, right? If you want to do rate limiting, 5 requests per second or 10 requests per second, this is very precise, which is very good. Now, but however, if you're running a website, now when you go to a single e-commerce website, right, on the landing page itself, they got multiple CSS object, there's a lot of images, etc. Now, if you define a 5 requests per second, a lot of all these objects at the spur of moment, it will not be able to load. Hence, a lot of 502 or 3 type of errors as well. Now, but if you increase the rate limit to higher, but subsequently you are kind of prone for attack as well. So it's pretty much very hard for you to adjust, right? So that's where in NGINX we have something called a bursting or a bucket of the idea as well, right? Now, so advanced rate limiting idea. Now, first of all, I define a policy. So this is again is a custom resource by NGINX called policy. Now in this policy called rate limit burst policy, right? So right now it's 5 requests per second. I intentionally commented out this one, so I comment it out first. Now, so what I use as a key, my key is HTTP header user ID -ID, right? Now, so okay, then another thing, I create another policy, right? It's called rate limit policy. This is called 1 request per second. It doesn't have a burst. Again, based on HTTP header user ID is the HTTP header. Now here I have one deployments already, right? I have one virtual server, custom resource, rate limit.helloclouds.net, right? Now, so what I do is I apply. Let's say if you go to the landing page, which is e-commerce website, I will apply rate limit burst policy, which is 5 requests per second. Currently, there's no bursting, right? Now, if you go to the T/T, there's no policy assigned to it. Now, if I go to /coffee, I will have a rate limit is 1 request per second. Now, right now it's kind of, I put everything into one single virtual server resource, right? For ease of reading, right? Now, earlier on, as I mentioned, if you want, you can break it down to virtual server route into different namespace as well. But for this demonstration, I just want to keep everything on a single slide for ease of reading, right? So right now, slash is a 5 requests per second. /t is no policy. /coffee is 1 request per second. Now let's come to here, right? So rate limit, right? So right now let's just disable. So let me just disable all the header, right? So there's no header. So let me just turn on my developer tools first, right? So I refresh this page. It loads just nice, right? So it's an e-commerce website. /coffee, sorry, it's a typo error. /coffee, right? If I refresh very fast, there's no error, right? Every request goes through smoothly. If I go to /t, again everything goes through very smoothly. Now, why it doesn't happen? Because I based on a key called user-id header, right? Again, I can use IP address or cookie or whatsoever. So right now, let me turn on the user ID. Let me just put a random string, put as 1, right? Now, if I put a /t, I refresh, you see there's no error. The reason is because the T has no policy to that, right? Now, let me just go to the coffee, right? Right, coffee. If I do quick refresh, do you see? If I click slightly faster, I get 503 because I only have one request per second, right? Now, so yeah, so if I'm happy with that now. So right now, if I want to go to e-commerce website. Now, if I go to an e-commerce website, I have something called 5 requests per second, but I do not have bursting. Now, so I have a few objects, say about 4-5 requests being loaded. Then subsequent, a lot of objects are not able to load, because as I mentioned, in e-commerce website, on the spur of moment, at the particular moment when you want to load the page, a lot of objects need to load, right? Now, how do I solve this problem, right? I have something called bursting, right? Now, so right now, let me just switch to here. Okay, now let's call this burst policy. Now, so I will uncomment this one, right? So I will put burst as 10, right? So depend on your applications, right? I will apply. Okay, this is in the use case 5, right? So let me just okay. So right now, if I do a refresh, okay, hold on first. Yeah, let me take effect. You see? Do you realize right now everything load, right? Now I want to pay close attention, right? You still notice that if it's 5 requests per second, because the objects are still sequentially loading, right? But however, it doesn't introduce those 503 error. You realize some of the objects are still slowly loading, right? Now if I switch it away from the user ID, now you can when the loading time is very fast, right? So literally everything just fresh out, right? But if I put a user ID to a fixed string, the policy kick in, but I allow them to load it more gracefully, right? So you see, yeah. And if I show you, there's no error, 503 error. Now, so how the bursting able to help you in this, right? Now let me go to the third demo, right? So the third demo is more on API security. Now, when you are involved with API, I think, right? So when you want to build API, so there's something called API, Open API spec, or called Swagger, formerly known as a Swagger file, right? So basically, it's kind of contract like that. So a single source of truth, right? The architect define what the API endpoint is supposed to look like, right? So here is kind of a snapshot of what a simplified HTTP bin Open API spec, right? For example, I support /get /headers and /dday/n. And what's this n? This n basically is an integer, and the value must be between 0 and 10, right? So I know the HTTP, if you're familiar with HTTP bin, you know HTTP bin got a lot more endpoints. But for the sake of these demonstrations, I can remove the rest of the endpoint. I just expose /get /headers /dday/n, which is a dday is integer between 0 and 10. Now, so the architect already defined this Open API spec. The developer will base on this Open API spec to go and do their development, right? Now, what if the SecOps security team, the cloud security team, able to base on this single source of truth to define the policy? There is something called API security. When you talk of Open API security, generally there are two portions. One is called authentications and authorizations, and one is a HTTP payload inspections, or those OWASP top 10 or WAF applications. Now, in this demonstration, we are more focus on web application firewall type of features, right? Now, so right now, if let's say I have this Open API spec, how can I easily use this one to define my policy? Now, so in here, earlier on I can mention like a rate limiting, advanced routing, or blue-green deployment. Those are available in NGINX open source as well as NGINX Plus, which is a commercial versions. Now, this module, NGINX App Protect, is only available in NGINX Plus, which is a commercial module. Now, after F5 acquired NGINX, F5 all this while have introduced enterprise grade of web application firewall. Now, we know NGINX is lightweight data plane, and F5 have introduced all this while have been selling enterprise grade web application firewall. So right now we kind of married both world, or best of both world technology. So we take enterprise grade of a WAF engine from F5 and then port over to NGINX data plane. So right now it's high performance, and it's backed by F5 research team, and it's very easy to use and then very DevOps friendly as well. Alright, so today main topic is not really into these solutions, but I just want to highlight so that you understand. So the next demonstrations I will leverage on this module to help me perform them. Now, so how do I do API protections? First of all, I will do something called a App Protect policy, which is the NGINX App Protect module, App Protect policy. Now, in this when you install an App Protect, you can download a trial license from NGINX. It allows you to install something, the App Protect. Now, so when you install the NGINX App Protect, it comes with some base template, right? So we have some base template. So what I do is I just use the base template. The base template is good. Is in many instances is good enough because it covers all the CVE, all the known CVE, all the OVA top 10 and payload inspection, etc. Right? Now, so because of these screens, so I can cut short and up. Later on I will show you the full manifest. Now, in this policy, there's something called Open APIs files, right? So Open API file is just as it mentions, the architect already defined the files already, right? So I will just point to the files, right? And after that, this is App Protect policy. Then I will create something called policy custom resource, right? So I will just turn on the App Protect enable equal to true, and I refer back to this policy, right? To refer to this policy. Now, why we do kind of double step? Because if you realize this policy is where you define your rate limiting, define your traffic splitting, etc. So right now we make this policy to become very generic. So you can mix and match. You can WAF rate limiting together, WAF job token authentication, WAF. So it's a lot of kind of Lego block for you to build up, right? Now, so right now in this custom virtual server resource, probably by now you're familiar, I have http://bin.helloclouds.dev. Right, I take this policy, I can refer to here, http WAF policy, and then this is my upstream resource, right? Now, I don't give you an idea, right? Hey, assuming if I want to /get only have this WAF policy, /header I don't want to have, I can move this policy block into a path. I can just move this 2 line into here as well. So it's only certain path will have policy, certain path will not have policy. So we give you a lot of flexibility of what you want to define. So imagine once virtual server resource, you can have different WAF policy according to your need, right? Now, so yeah, so there is. Okay, let me just show you quickly. Now, so as I promised to show you the full manifest for the Open API spec. Sorry, the API files. Now, okay, so the app protect policy. So this Open API spec, literally I just refer to a link, a GitHub link, GitHub repo. Okay, so this one is where the /get /header, which I show you just on /delay, right? So there's no magic to that. Okay, now so yeah, that's all. Right now, let me just show you the actual demo. Okay, here. Okay, now. So first of all, I want to show you without protections, right? HTTP bin/x without NGINX app protect, right? So this without protections, right? Now, so it's a HTTP bin website. I can go to /get, right? Okay, so okay, hold on, just make it bigger. /get. Okay, I do a /headers, right? So it can return all the header for me. I do a /delay /1. It basically sleep for 1 second. It return the response back to me. /2 is sleep for 2 seconds. Then it return the response to me. Now, so earlier on we know this API was expecting an integer, right? Let's say I just changed to a character. Now, system will throw an error to me because it cannot handle, because it's a string instead of integer, right? Now, let's say what if instead of /get I do a random string and system not found, right? So basically it's just a direct hit to the application will just depend on the application to do the handling, right? Now if I do a /get, right? Now if you want to know a SQL injections, this is the most basic one. Is a question mark, put a bracket and then a script, right? It doesn't handle it properly, right? Now, so right now, let me just go to http bin.helloclouds.net/get, right? Now, so this is with protections, right? /get is working as normal. /headers is working as normal, as expected. /delay /1 is basically sleep for 1 second. Yeah, it's fine now. So let me try out. Let's say put a character. Right? So what will happen, right? So NGINX app protect will detect this if it violate the Open API spec, then it will block it as a, so you can return a custom ID as a support ID string, right? Now, in this product, NGINX app protect, we can send the logs to your ELK stack, to your Elastic stack, or to your Grafana, or to Splunk, or to Arcside as well for you to visualization. So right now I was kind of skip the part as well. So literally in the log, in the error log, so violation log, it will tell you exactly why it violate. Right now it's because it's a illegal parameter, right? Now if I put a / and character, random character, I'll hit to another error string, right? So another ID as well. So if your customer, if you return this one to your partner, to your support, to your end user, so when end user call your support team, for example, they can code this ID, then you know exactly why they hit into those errors as well, right? So this is the support ID is a random string, right? So this how okay. Basically, I just want to quickly recap. Now, in order for me to do the API protections, the only thing I need is Open API spec. Say, hey, architect, once you pass to me the files, I just define the policy, the app protect policy, NGINX policy, custom resource, and virtual server custom resource, and just link it up together. Now, I do not need any tunings or any learning per se, and then it will guarantee almost as good as zero false positive, because it just works, right? Because I work according to your single source of truth, right? Yeah. So this kind of yeah. So early on, I mean, basically I can conclude my three use case of demo that I want to prepare. We want to show today, right? So what we have seen is I kind of demonstrate NGINX as an ingress controller. What you can do here, there's a lot more that you can do, which I didn't have time to cover. Then also, because NGINX is so small, right? You can do as a per service deployment. So you can do a NGINX deployment as a per proxy. Now, why people do that is to handle east-west traffic as well. Now, imagine, right, the NGINX app protect, the API protection. What if you move to per service? So you have service A from team A want to consume service from service B. Now, if you go through this micro gateway, literally you're able to do a east-west protection or zero trust deployment as well, right? Now, if you really want to take a step further, you want to NGINX can be deployed as a per port sidecar proxy as well, right? If you do not want to go to service mesh, but yet you want to enjoy some of the benefit, you can deploy NGINX with the NGINX App Protect in the per port proxy as well. So it literally open up a lot of use cases for you to depend on your creativity, for you to mix and match different policy as well, right? Now, I believe by now a lot of you saw this photo before, right? When I first saw this Suez Canal crisis, when I saw this picture, hey, you know, it's just reasonable very well, right? It's a cargo ship, lost a container and got stuck in the Suez Canal and caused a major impact to the shipping in the Egypt region as well, across Europe as well, right? Now, when this picture come out, right, a lot of people notice, hey, there's this poor guy, right? He single-handedly trying to save the world, right? So a lot of times when a production issue, your team or you yourself have to kind of clean up. Oh, you know, I need to free up the why there's latency intrudes into to my application. Why my applications get stuck, and you are the one who kind of trying to do magic to save the world, right? Now, if this canal is like an ingress controller to your platform, right? So literally this canal is basically just to send the traffic, right? If this canal is like an ingress controller into your platform, your container services performance is as fast as ingress controller, right? Or your container services flexibility is as good as the ingress controller. Now, if you can't really make full use of ingress controller, you can't really make your container to go faster, go more advanced use cases as well, right? Right? Yeah, just a few last things. This additional resources, feel free to go to docs.nginx.com. In the website here, there's Ingress Controller. It will teach you how you can build your open source Docker image or NGINX Plus image as well, and how you can deploy those custom resource and what are functionality features that you can take advantage of. So I highly recommend you to even though you might not have an environment to play around, by browsing through the documents, it can give you an idea, oh, what are the potential possibility as well. Another resource is go to the GitHub, this NGINX INC, right? NGINX INC, the Kubernetes Ingress. Here there's an example of custom resources. Now again, read through the YAML file, it will give you an idea of what you can do. So it's so that's good, right? Now, okay, so I think I hope that I have the result. Okay, yeah, as promised, we are going to announce the winner. Okay. Okay, now so we have I think, wow, so our marketing ladies were very generous. So initially we saw top five winners, right? So because there's ties, so we're going to reward the top six winner. Like thank you, congrats Sammy, Jamie, Sam, Kairunism, Shira, Amiro, and June, right? So sorry if I mispronounce your name. Our marketing lady Cheryl will get in touch with you, right? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now I kind of lost where my screen is. Okay. Last but not least, I just want to do a shout out. So today is 20th of April. Tomorrow, 21st, for the next 3 days, F5 going to run this global conference, Agility 2021. So initially, I mean, we run this yearly event because of COVID-19. So there's no on-site event in US. So this become a global conference event. It's free to register, free to attend as well. So it's, I mean, F5 together with NGINX will cover different topics. How to, I mean, F5 NGINX. Our companies basically provide application services to enhance your applications, to make it go faster, make it more safer, and etc. Right? So definitely there's a lot of live talk or on-demand video for you to gain some extra knowledge as well, right? And as well as some hands-on lab as well, hopefully. Or if not, you can follow through that the live sessions as well. I think with that, I can conclude my events. Thank you for your participation. I can't overrun 5 minutes. Feel free to connect with me. Yeah, if I'm more than happy to help you, if whether F5 or NGINX questions. Right, I think that's all from my side.
Yep. Thank you so much, Michael. So, do you have any more slides, or this is the last slide?
I think you're muted yourself.
Wait, can you hear me? Wait. Okay, now?
Tabaraj, I think we can't hear you though. Or at least I can't hear you.
Wait, let me. I think your side. Okay, let me. Alright, okay, Michael. So what I'm going to do is just continue with this, and then we have a couple of questions. So I'm going to bring up the questions. I think your side. Yes. Alright, okay. So I'm just going to bring a question, and then Michael, you can straight away answer it. So alright, okay, Michael. So what I'm going to do is just continue with this, and then we have a couple of questions. So I'm going to bring up the questions. So let me pick a question. Okay. I assume Michael probably can hear in a couple of minutes, so you still can't hear me yet.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think because I'm using my phone to log into the YouTube to hear what you all talk. I myself can't really hear you. So,
Okay.
But no worry. Okay, so I think the question is, what is the difference between NGINX and NGINX Plus, right? NGINX open source is a free to use. NGINX Plus is a paid commercial versions. I think, okay, straight from the point is, one is open source, one is paid versions. And when the paid version, you get support, you get access to the support. If there's a CVE, then we'll fix the CVE, and then those NGINX Plus user will get priority to get access to that. So sometimes open source, you take weeks to months to get those fixes as well. So there's one thing. And second thing is the NGINX Plus give you a lot more features as well. Like for example, active health monitoring is only available in NGINX Plus. And as I said, just in a demonstration, NGINX App Protect, the WAF engine, is only available in the NGINX Plus as well. Just primarily, or just very particular to the Kubernetes environment, there's something called dynamic reconfigurations. Only happen is the API reconfiguration, only available in NGINX Plus. So probably I can send a link later on. The bottom line is NGINX Plus in the Kubernetes is Ingress Controller have better performance against open source in the Kubernetes environment because of there are some improvement in the underlying architecture.
Yep. Thank you for the answer. So I'm going to bring your next questions. Okay, it's fine. Can you explain the benefit between NGINX Ingress Controller and...
Can you explain the benefit between NGINX Ingress Controller versus NGINX Ingress Controller without bias to NSX Ingress Controller? I honestly don't have much experience on NSX Ingress Controller, so I can't really talk about that. But one thing for sure is now, I think when you evaluate a product, right? Blue-green deployment, everybody can do that. Now, then the next question of evaluation point is, how do you do that, and how much control can you do that? Now, if you use annotation, you can do blue-green deployment as well. But Can you do so granular, or can you do very flexible when you have a different deployment team want to do that? I think this again, I just want to give you some pointer on how you do the product evaluations as well, right? So some product it can do, but how easy for it to use, right? So on that. I think another thing I'm very confident to say is NGINX, because we have App Protect, which are powered by F5 WAF engine. So F5, all this WAF has been doing enterprise grade WAF engines already, right? So after acquire NGINX, they just port over the engines. So we have a rich heritage of what F5 can do, right? So right now, more and more features being port over to NGINX. So with that backing, it's no longer just another load balancer, but it can do more things as well.
I think that's a good answer. I think with that, okay, let me see whether we have any more questions. Okay, I think that's about it. Questions for today, actually. Michael.
Just take note. I can't really hear that.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't hear. I have to read the text. So sorry. Yeah, because I don't
No
know why
worries.
I can't hear you.
Yep. So I will give to you.
Yeah. Without further question, I think that's all.
Okay. So just if I'm giving a few more questions. Any more? Let me know. Yep. No more. Okay. I'm gonna say thank you to Michael. I think Michael is really good. I know he can't hear me, but he's probably gonna watch the video later. So probably later he can hear me out. So thank you so much, Michael, for having.
I can hear you.
Yep. Thank you so much for having it tonight, and then giving a good talk, and it's really a good informative talk with a very good demo. Yeah, and then really we have a few demos, like more than one or two. Like we have 3 demos today, so it's really good. I think with that, thank you so much. I'm gonna just maintain down there, and I will catch up with you later. Just so we're gonna be already towards the end. So yeah. All right, guys, that's about it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining. I think we had a very good crowd, actually, a lot of crowd, but very silent crowd, since they didn't ask many questions. I assume they understand. But again, if you actually in the DevOps, doing a DevOps style, right, and you haven't heard about NGINX, you should actually explore NGINX. Even the open source, there's a lot you can actually use it for your own use from reverse proxy to rate limiting, like what you showed earlier, right? I had experience before this with that, so that's why I can watch for it. If not worth it, so whether we want to go further than that, that's a different story. So if any question, just feel free to reach out to him. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And then if you have any feedback, feel free to reach out to me. If you have any questions, you can PM me as well. I'm happy to answer. If you want to be a speaker, I will be very happy to have you. If you want to sponsor, or you want to any feedback or anything you want to help us to improve the DevOps community itself, let us know as well. So we're happy to have you on board. And with that, thank you so much, and see you next month, guys. All right, have a good night and stay safe.